The early morning sun casts long golden rays across my front lawn as I sip my coffee on the porch, watching the sleepy neighborhood stir to life. My house, a modest but well-maintained ranch-style home, sits at the end of a cul-de-sac, surrounded by towering oak trees. It's peaceful here, or at least it used to be. This community wasn't always so complicated. When I first moved in 5 years ago, I thought I'd found the perfect place. Quiet, friendly, a little on the pricier side, but worth it. That was before the HOA got out of control. Before Karen. Karen, her real name, unfortunately, appointed herself the de facto queen of the HOA the moment she moved in. Blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, permanent scowl. She's the kind of woman who thinks every minor inconvenience is a personal attack. But beneath the passive-aggressive emails and the snide remarks about maintaining the neighborhood's aesthetic, there's something uglier. A sense of entitlement. A belief that people like me, black, successful, independent, don't belong here. First, it was just little things. Karen sending reminders about trash pickup, only to me, side-eyeing my car as if it didn't belong in my own driveway. But I brushed it off. I worked hard for this home, for this life. I wasn't about to let some bored suburban tyrant ruin it. Then the first real issue appeared. One evening, I come home from work, exhausted. I pull into my driveway, only to find a bright yellow warning notice slapped onto my garage door. Driveway expansion not in accordance with HOA standards. Fine, $500. Failure to comply will result in further penalties. I frown. Expansion? I didn't expand anything. My driveway has been the same since the day I moved in. The only difference? Last week I had it repaved, something plenty of neighbors had done without issue. But I already know what this is. I crumple the notice and exhale, forcing down my frustration. Karen. I head inside, determined not to let it ruin my night. But something nags at me. A feeling. A warning. I ignore it. I shouldn't have. Because Karen isn't done. And soon she'll take things much further. Much worse. And when she does, she won't see me comings. A week passes, and the fine sits unpaid on my kitchen counter. I've checked the HOA guidelines front to back. There's no rule against repaving a driveway. Karen is bluffing, trying to push me into submission. I decide to ignore it, figuring she'll get bored and move on. Then, one morning, I walk outside and stop cold. A white BMW is parked at the edge of my driveway. Not near it. Not next to asterisk it. Asterisk across it, blocking my way out. I frown, gripping my coffee mug tighter. Maybe a delivery driver? A mistake? But the car is empty. And then I see her. Karen stands a few feet away, talking to another HOA board member, Marcy, one of her usual yes-women. She's laughing, gesturing dramatically. And then her eyes flick to me. The laughter stops. A slow, smug smile stretches across her face. I set my mug down on the porch railing and walk toward the car, keeping my voice level. Hey, Karen. Any idea whose car this is? She tilts her head, feigning surprise. Oh, that's my son's car. He's visiting from college. Isn't it just so wonderful to have family around? I glance around the empty driveway next door. He couldn't park in your driveway? Karen's smile doesn't falter. Oh, he could have. But I told him yours would be fine. After all, I did warn you that repaving without HOA approval wasn't allowed. Since you insist on making your driveway a neighborhood issue, I figured we'd all just start using it. Fair's fair. My jaw tightens. There it is. The power play. She knows exactly what she's doing. I take a slow breath, keeping my expression neutral. Right? Well, tell him to move it. Now. Karen sighs dramatically, looking over at Marcy. See? This is exactly what I was talking about. Some people just don't understand how an HOA works. Marcy nods along like a bobblehead. It's about community standards. We all have to follow the rules. I clench my fists. Community standards? You mean like the other 5 people who repaved their driveways? Or is this just a me thing? Karen gasps, pressing a hand to her chest like I just insulted her entire family lineage. Oh my goodness. I would never single anyone out. You always make things about race, don't you? And there it is. The unspoken accusation flipped back on me, like I'm the problem. I exhale slowly, forcing a smile. I'll have it towed. Karen's face darkens. Oh, you wouldn't. HOA rules prohibit unnecessary towing. And since we haven't officially ruled on your driveway situation, this counts as a shared neighborhood space now. My blood runs cold. She's serious. And I realize for the first time that she isn't just trying to find me. She's trying to push me out. And she's just getting started. The next morning, the BMW is still there. My patience isn't. I pull out my phone and call the towing company. Yeah, I have an unauthorized vehicle blocking my driveway. No, it doesn't belong to me. Just as I hang up, I hear the telltale clack-clack of expensive heels on pavement. Excuse me? Karen's voice is sharp, cutting through the crisp morning air. What do you think you're doing? I slip my phone into my pocket and turn to face her. She's standing at the edge of my property, arms folded tight across her chest, Marcy trailing behind like an obedient little shadow. I'm having the car towed, I say flatly. Karen lets out a dry laugh. You can't do that. It's blocking my driveway. It's parked in a shared neighborhood space. No, Karen. It's my private driveway. Her lips purse. That's debatable. I step closer, keeping my voice measured. No, it's not. I checked. County property records. My driveway is mine. You don't get to block it just because you don't like that I repaved it. Marcy gasps like I just cursed at them. Karen just smiles. That slow, dangerous smile that lets me know she isn't done playing games. Well, she says sweetly, if that's how you want to handle things. Before I can respond, she spins on her heel and stalks off, Marcy scrambling to keep up. I exhale, tension humming under my skin. Something about the way she said that doesn't sit right. 10 minutes later, the tow truck arrives. The driver barely steps out before shaking his head. Sorry, man. Got a call from the HOA president. Says this is a neighborhood dispute, and they'll take legal action if I tow. I stare at him. What? The driver shrugs. Look, I don't get involved in HOA drama. She says you're violating HOA rules, and I'm not risking my company getting sued. Sorry. I watch as he climbs back into his truck and drives away, leaving me standing there, fists clenched. Karen just outmaneuvered me. Again. I need leverage, proof that she's targeting me, and I need someone who isn't under her thumb. That night, I make a few calls. By morning, I have a plan. I meet with Mr. Patel, an older Indian man who lives 2 houses down. He's been in this neighborhood for over a decade, long before the HOA got aggressive. You're not the first, he says over coffee. She did the same thing to the Ramirez family last year. Fined them into the ground, made up rules until they had to sell and move. And before them, the wuss pattern. And the board just lets her get away with it? Ask. Mr. Patel shakes his head. She is the board. The only people left are the ones who vote her way. I take a slow breath, my mind racing. She's done this before, and she's getting bolder. That means I can predict her next move. And I can beat her. But first, I need to make it clear I won't be intimidated. I make a call to my lawyer. Then I head to the hardware store. It's time to send a message. The next morning, Karen wakes up to find construction workers digging a deep trench around my driveway. By noon, the trench is nearly 5 feet deep. By evening, I install a retractable wooden drawbridge. Karen storms onto my property, her face a shade of red I didn't know was possible. What the hell is this? I step onto my new bridge and press the remote. The bridge lifts with a mechanical whir, leaving a solid moat between my driveway and the street. Private property, I say casually. Figured if you're gonna keep blocking my driveway, I should make sure I can still use it. Her mouth flaps like a fish. This is insane. You can't just. Oh, but I can. I grin. You see, I checked. Nothing in the HOA rules says I can't build a trench on my own property. And county zoning laws? Perfectly legal. For the first time, Karen looks genuinely speechless. I lean in, lowering my voice just enough to make sure she hears me. You don't own me, Karen. And you sure as hell don't control my property. Her hands clench into fists. I see it, the rage, the frustration, the knowledge that I just turned her own game against her. But I also see something else. She's not done. And neither am I. The trench changes everything. For the first time, Karen is stuck. She can't block my driveway anymore. Not unless she wants to drive her precious BMW straight into a 5-foot pit. But I know Karen. This isn't over. And I'm right. 2 days later, I step outside to find a group of men in neon vests standing at the edge of my property. A bulldozer is idling beside them. Karen stands in the middle, arms crossed, looking victorious. I step onto my drawbridge, lowering it with a smooth whir, and walk straight up to her. What the hell is this? She smirks. You're in violation of HOA regulations. I arch a brow. Oh? Which one? She waves a printed document. Article 7, Section B of the HOA Architectural Standards. No unapproved landscaping modifications that impede neighborhood aesthetics or traffic flow. I almost laugh. That rule didn't exist last week. Karen shrugs, feigning innocence. Well, the HOA board met last night. Voted unanimously. Her grin sharpens. We also approved the immediate removal of any violations. One of the workers, a middle-aged guy with a clipboard, steps forward. Sir, we've been hired to fill in this trench and restore your driveway to HOA compliance. I stare at Karen. She thinks she's won. She's so smug. So sure she's backed me into a corner. I let the silence stretch, let her bask in her perceived victory. Then I exhale. Slowly. You're making a mistake. Karen tilts her head, eyes gleaming. No, you made the mistake of thinking you could play games with me. You're not special. You don't get to ignore the HOA just because you... She stops herself. But I hear it. I hear exactly what she almost said. Because she's been thinking it this whole time. I step closer. Say it. Her lips press into a thin line. That's what this is about, isn't it? My voice is calm. Even. You did this to the Ramirez family. The wuss. Anyone who didn't fit your little vision of the neighborhood. But I'm not them. I smile. I fight back. She scoffs. Oh, please. This isn't personal. These are just the rules. If you don't like it, you can leave. And there it is. The quiet part. The thing she's been dancing around since the day she decided I didn't belong here. The workers shift uncomfortably. They've been hired for a job. But now they're witnessing something uglier than a simple HOA dispute. I take my time, reaching into my pocket and pulling out my phone. With a few taps, I pull up a video and hit play. Karen's voice fills the air. We have to make it difficult for people like him. The HOA has ways of encouraging certain people to sell. It worked before. It'll work again. Karen's face drains of color. She knows that recording. She remembers that conversation. Because she said it at the last HOA meeting. You didn't think I'd have friends at the meeting? Ask. Mr. Patel was kind enough to record it for me. I thought you might say something revealing. Karen's jaw tightens. That is a gross misrepresentation. I sent it to my lawyer this morning. I cut her off. And the county housing board. And the local news. Her breath catches. I lean in, voice dropping just for her. You want to play dirty? I can bury you. Karen trembles. For the first time, she is cornered. And she knows it. I turn to the workers, who are now eyeing her like she's radioactive. If you demolish anything on my property, that's destruction of private land. I motion to my phone. And with what I just played, you might want to think about whose side you're on. They exchange glances. The man with the clipboard clears his throat. Yeah. We're gonna need some more paperwork before we do anything. He turns to Karen. We'll follow up later. Karen is seething, her whole body taut with rage. You can't. You think you can just... I know I can, I interrupt. And you can either walk away right now, or we can see how this plays out in court. For a long, agonizing moment, she just stands there. Then, with a sharp inhale, she spins on her heel and marches away. Her defeat is delicious. But this isn't over. Not yet, because Karen, she's about to face real consequences. Karen is unraveling. The moment she realizes the HOA board meeting recording is out in the world, she starts damage control. First, she denies everything. She marches into the next HOA meeting, claiming the recording was manipulated, that I took her words out of context. But the board members, once so eager to back her, now shift uncomfortably in their seats, because they know the truth. And more importantly, so does everyone else. The video is spreading, first through the neighborhood Facebook group, then through the local news. By morning, it's on every community forum, exposing Karen's racist scheming for everyone to see. She panics. She calls an emergency HOA meeting at the clubhouse. But when she arrives, she finds something she never expected. Me. And I'm not alone. Seated beside me is my lawyer. And across from her, a county housing official. Karen stiffens, but she forces a tight-lipped smile, like she still has control. I don't know what this is about, but I have every right. You have no rights here, Karen. The official, a stern woman named Ms. Martinez, slides a stack of papers across the table. We've launched a full investigation into the HOA's conduct. Several residents have come forward with formal complaints of discrimination. Karen's smile falters. Complaints? Yes, Ms. Martinez says coolly. It seems you've had a pattern of targeting certain homeowners, blocking driveways, issuing excessive fines, forcing people to sell their homes. But the most damning evidence? That recording. Karen pales. I lean forward. How many families did you force out, Karen? My voice is low, steady, dangerous. How many people did you make uncomfortable until they had no choice but to leave? Her hands tremble. This is a gross misunderstanding. Is it? My lawyer interjects, sliding another document onto the table. Because as of this morning, we've filed a civil lawsuit against both you and the HOA for discriminatory housing practices. Karen's breath catches. A lawsuit? You can't. Oh, we can. My lawyer gives her a thin smile. We've also reported your HOA violations to the State Attorney General's office. Karen visibly shakes. Then she snaps. This is ridiculous, she shrieks, slamming her hands on the table. I was just trying to maintain order. People like him don't follow the rules. The room falls silent. And in that moment, Karen realizes she just said that out loud. With witnesses, with a county official staring her down. Ms. Martinez calmly sets down her pen. That will be all, Mrs. Davenport. Expect a formal investigation into the HOA's practices. In the meantime, I'd suggest consulting a lawyer. Karen's mouth opens and closes, like she's struggling to breathe. But the worst is still coming. The news vans arrive later that afternoon. The local reporters waste no time. They air the recording. They interview neighbors, former homeowners who had been bullied out by Karen's endless fines and anonymous complaints. They bring up her past complaints, the subtle but consistent targeting of families who weren't her kind of people. And Karen? She melts down. Cameras catch her storming out of the HOA office, screaming at reporters. This is a witch hunt, she screeches. I'm the victim here. But the final blow comes when the HOA board, her own allies, turn against her. They hold an emergency vote. And by the next morning, Karen is officially removed as HOA president. She's finished. But even then, it's not over. Because 2 weeks later, she gets served with a lawsuit. And I'm just getting started. That's Section 5. Ready for Section 6. Justice and resolution? Karen's downfall isn't just spectacular. It's permanent. In the weeks following her humiliating removal as HOA president, the legal system moves in. The county's housing authority finds overwhelming evidence of discrimination, launching a formal case against her. And then, the federal government steps in. The Department of Housing and Urban Development issues a civil rights violation notice against Karen and the HOA. It's devastating. Karen is slapped with massive fines for unlawful housing practices. But the worst part? Multiple former homeowners file lawsuits. People who were forced out of the neighborhood, those who Karen targeted, bullied, and drove away, are demanding compensation. Her once pristine, well-maintained house? She has to sell it to cover her legal fees. The woman who once ruled the neighborhood now has to leave it. The community changes too. The remaining HOA board members scramble to fix the damage. They issue public apologies and implement new policies to prevent future discrimination. They hold an election for a new HOA president. And guess who wins? Ms. Garcia. A kind, level-headed woman who had been fined dozens of times under Karen's rule for violations that never made sense. Her first act? Revoking all unfair HOA rules. Her second? Hosting a community barbecue on my driveway. Because now, it's officially my property. The day Karen moves out, I step outside to watch. She glares at me from her moving truck, her once perfect blonde bob frizzy and unkempt, her face hollow with exhaustion. I expect her to say something, some final insult, some desperate attempt to claw back control. But she doesn't, because she can't. Not after everything. Not after losing. She just turns away, slamming her car door, and drives off. Forever. That night, I stand on my newly reclaimed driveway, staring at my Moat and Drawbridge, the ultimate symbol of my battle. People laugh about it now, turning it into a local legend, the time a homeowner outsmarted the HOA by going medieval. But to me, it's more than that. It's proof that people like Karen don't get to win. Not forever. Not when you fight back. And as I watch the sunset reflect off the water, listening to the sounds of my neighbors, now my friends, chatting and laughing around my fire pit, I finally feel it. Peace, hard-earned, and mine. The end.